CNBC TV18 Zetwerk Smart Manufacturing Summit 2024.
Well, our next guest is here and she is truly an inspiration, an example of discipline, resilience and commitment. She has carried the hopes of the country on her game. Her lessons from the court can apply just as well to life, because who knows better about the winning mindset than badminton champion PV Sindhu. Let's give her a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome her on stage. And may I also invite Gaurav Kalra, Vice President Current Affairs, Viacom 18, to moderate this special conversation.
You know, I wanted to start by just referencing there are three kinds of medals, and I think the audience will relate to me, that you can win at an Olympics. You can win a bronze medal, you can win a silver medal, and you can win a gold medal. From the little research that I think everybody here might have done, PV Sindhu has won a bronze medal, PV Sindhu has won a silver medal. So about time that with an Olympic Games coming in a couple of months, which is the medal that I think is missing from the cabinet?
Yes, of course, gold.
You know, I know as journalists, and some of us have this bad habit that we tend to put people under pressure, but this is good pressure. You enjoy this kind of thing. You have that mindset, don't you, that you like the big stage more than anything else.
Yeah, well, a very good evening to everyone, firstly. And yeah, I mean, it is good pressure because I think a lot of people are rooting for me, supporting me, and showing me that love that, yes, you know, we want another medal. So definitely, it's always a good pressure. And yes, hoping for the best and hoping for another medal this Paris.
Yeah, I think there'll be 1 billion people because I remember being in Rio watching your final against Carolina Marin. You were very young back then. And I think the whole nation tuned into that match. That was the day when badminton really broke through. Do you still think back to that moment and think, you know, gosh, you know, if nothing else, that thing I achieved in Rio and then onwards in Tokyo is something that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life?
Yeah, of course, it is going to stay with me for the rest of my life because I would say, yeah, it has changed my life. And playing my first Olympics at Rio, I mean, I never thought that I would get a medal. So it was like, it was my first time I went as an underdog, and I thought I need to play well, I will give my best. But yeah, things were going right, everything was going fine, and of course, finals, it's anybody's game, and only one can win. So I think whatever has happened, I've learned a lot, I've experienced a lot, and I would say, yes, that feeling when I was standing on the podium is something different, which I can never express. So definitely after that, my life has changed a lot.
You know what, Sindhu, the theme today is we're going to be talking about that winning mindset, and it's something that is really associated with you. You've had a tough time with injuries, etc., but you've come back and you've tasted success immediately having that Badminton Asia Championships win. Can you talk us through the tournament coming back? Were there nerves? The fact that you were back on court, you were competing again, and winning the tournament, how has that helped your progress now with the Olympics looming?
Yeah, I was injured last year in October. Well, I was really in good shape and everything was going on well, but unfortunately I had a knee injury, and then I had to take a break for almost like 4 months, and it was really hard. I'm sure it is hard for any athlete to take a break, and you know, you don't know what is happening, you don't know if you can come back, you don't know if you can give your 100% again. So a lot of things going on, you know, inside your mind. So I think it was very important for me to just believe in myself, and I just kept focusing on what I had to do. I was very happy and excited. I just went for a tournament, and I think the whole team played really well, and it is the first time that we won at the Asian Team Championship. So it's such a wonderful feeling, and of course, it gives me a lot of confidence that, you know, I came back again after an injury, and I wish that I carry the same confidence and move forward.
PV Sindhu, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, moving on, in the next session, we have the honor of meeting a titan of the manufacturing industry. Please welcome with a huge round of applause R.C. Bhargav, Chairman, Maruti Suzuki, in conversation with Shireen Bhan, Managing Editor, CNBC TV18.
Mr. Bhargav, you know, so let's go back in time to 1983, to the end of December, when you were actually starting production at Maruti. And at that point in time, the dream or the ambition or the audacious goal was 100,000 cars is what you were hoping Maruti would be able to do. From there to 4 million, which is what you are currently doing. What a journey it's been. What a story it's turned out to be. Would you ever have imagined this kind of success?
Certainly, I could not have imagined what has happened. And I would venture to say, Shireen, that nobody in the world would have imagined it. At that time, even 100,000 was looking to a lot of people as an impossible amount of cars to sell in the Indian market. This market had been stagnant at 35 to 40,000 cars for a decade. And to add another 100,000 cars in that, everybody thought it was impossible. That is what you were told. Don't try and sell 100,000, just the 30, 40,000 is enough.
And very few people may actually realize that it is one of the few examples of a public-private partnership that really has flourished. What do you think worked to your advantage?
I think when we started the project, what was very helpful was the fact that the Prime Minister had a personal interest in this project, which meant that other politicians kept away from interfering in various decisions which we had to make, who should become our partner, from where we should get technologies, who should be the contractors, who should be appointed. I think people kept away from that. There was one minister who had tried to do something, he got sacked. And so other ministers and other people kept away. And that was one fact which led us to take the correct decisions in the initial period. Many factors worked in our favor. One was the financial factor. The advance booking for car scheme, you remember that, yeah. Shireen, that gave us a lot of cash. And we became independent of government for our financial needs. So we never had to go back to the government each year for getting more money and things of that kind. I think that gave us a great deal of flexibility.
I don't know if the Maruti success story would be as big a success story if you had a different collaborator, if you had a different partner, a non-Japanese partner. Do you think the story would have been the same?
No, I don't think if we had any other partner, even if we had another Japanese partner, I'm not sure if the same story would have unfolded. Because Osamu Suzuki was a very different kind of Japanese president. I don't think any other Japanese president would have taken the decision to partner the government to make a car. I don't think any other Japanese president would have taken as much interest as Mr. Suzuki took in ensuring that Maruti got all that it needed to develop into a good company. The kind of effort he made personally in visiting the company, visiting the factories, going around the factories every time, giving directions and suggestions on how to make improvements. Nobody does that. So I think it was not only Japanese, it was Suzuki.
Yeah, you know, on that, and now you talked about improvement, because that is very crucial to the Japanese style of manufacturing, the quest for constant improvement, of daily improvement. I want to understand from you, and many people in this room who are in the manufacturing space, you know, how do you create a culture of improvement which eventually leads to creating a culture of excellence?
You know, I think that was the key, if I may put it that way, to our long-term success. Right from the beginning, we found that in Japan, there were no strikes. The union and the managements were working together. There was a partnership between them. It's a very different thing, and workers are actually contributing to the improvement of the company through the quality circles, Kaizen activities, small-scale, small group activities. There was a lot of change happening in factories that way. And that is what intrigued us. And Mr. Suzuki said that, and the Japanese people generally told us that it's all a question of good communication between the management and the workers. If you explain to the workers that, in fact, their long-term aspirations and interests of improving their own lifestyle, improving the future of their children and the welfare of their families, actually only depends on the growth and prosperity of their employing company. And that is the key to the whole thing of creating a management system where you convince the workers through continuous communication as well as your policies and actions.
Mr. Bhargav, before I let you go, what keeps you going? You know, IAS, Maruti, over 4 decades of being a hands-on manager and now, of course, of being chairman. What gets you going every morning? What makes you sort of find purpose in all that you do today?
Please remember, as an entrepreneur, be frugal, create teamwork, generate as much profit as you can, pay maximum tax out of that, keep the internal resources, don't fritter it away, and keep growing all the time. Don't think of the future, just keep growing.
Just keep growing. And Mr. Bhargav, what an absolute pleasure it has been to listen to you. Ladies and gentlemen, living legend here for Indian manufacturing, R.C. Bhargav. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Thank you so much.
CNBC TV18 Zetwerk Smart Manufacturing Summit 2024. CNBC TV18 Zetwerk Smart Manufacturing Summit 2024.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our panel of the day, which is titled Sustainable Manufacturing Pathways to a $5 Trillion Economy. And to moderate the session, I'd like to invite on stage Parikshit Luthra, Bureau Chief, CNBC TV18.
Mr. Agarwal, let me begin by asking you, what does the term smart manufacturing really mean to you right now? You've seen the industry over the last 4 decades. We were assembling a lot. We're now manufacturing a lot locally. A lot of things are being done by robots in the industry. There's more use of AI, IoT now. But in today's day and age, what does smart manufacturing mean to you?
Fundamentally, smart manufacturing is that when you use less natural resources, when you have much more non-fossil fuel-based energy, and when you do it with the least cost, when you have the least waste, when you are careful about the materials that you use, and when you do a lot of recirculation or have focus on waste, safety practices. So the entire ecosystem, I would say, of manufacturing, when you do it efficiently, then it means it's smart manufacturing.
Right. Thank you for putting that so well, sir. What about you, Vivek? When it comes to Sona Comstar, today you are investing heavily in terms of electric vehicle manufacturing. When it comes to implementing principles of smart manufacturing, drawing your energy from renewable sources, reducing emissions across your value chain, how are you trying to do that?
Yeah, so I'd like to add to what Sir has already said. I think smart manufacturing or sustainable manufacturing is not just about doing less of what is bad and harmful. It is also about doing more of what is good. So, of course, there are the easy ones. Use less, thermal energy. Use less emitting, less waste, all of that. But can we also enable more of what is good? So, for example, electrification. So one of our goals is that 45% of our revenue in calendar year 26 would come from sales to battery electric vehicles. So that is where we say it is smarter than not just reducing the carbon footprint. Of course, the easy ones, like changing your energy mix, even though if it's more expensive, ensuring that your logistics footprint is smaller. You use recyclable packaging, even if your customers don't pay for it. Sometimes you have to bear that cost. So there is a lot more. And as Sir already alluded, because our industry is very competitive and very ruthless in some aspects, you don't just have to make a better product, you have to make a better and cheaper product all the time. So you can't grow in areas which add cost without value addition. So repeatable tasks that you put unskilled or semi-skilled workers on, as much as you can reduce and upgrade them to higher skilled tasks, that is going to be better.
Pulkit, I'd like to ask you, today we are working towards a $5 trillion economy, and that dream is very achievable. We're going to reach there very fast. We'll probably reach there in 2025. What are some of the opportunities that you see for the industry? When we speak about smart manufacturing, efficient manufacturing, sustainable manufacturing, how does that fit in with our larger $5 trillion economy goal?
I think when we talk about 5 trillion, right? So it may sound like a big number. To some, it may sound like a very achievable average number. But if you look back, 10 years back, we were much smaller economy. Today, we are from number 8, we have jumped to number 5, right? And just to give you a sense in terms of what this 5 trillion can do, the number 5 rank will jump to number 3. We are going to be bigger than Japan and Germany. So we are talking about India being the 3rd largest economy in the world. We are talking about a country which will have the highest population with the highest consumer demand, right? So it's a very different scale, very different sense of relevance in the global stage. Now, if you were to kind of break down India advantages, of course, smart manufacturing is one part of it, but what will lead to it is something that we need to decipher and think through. So some of the things that happened over last 10 years have basically got us where we are today, right? Whether it's GST, whether it's RERA, whether it's banking laws, whether it's basically government's focus on infrastructure. So just to give you some data points there, we added 146,000 kilometers in terms of roads. We added 26 route kilometers in terms of railways. 11% of our total GDP goes into infrastructure development, right? So these are massive numbers which are going to lead to a lot of other elements when it comes to meeting that 5 trillion target. When you look at corporate tax rates today, right? India is the lowest corporate tax rate regime in the world. We have a 22% tax rate for matured companies. We are talking about 15% corporate tax rate for new manufacturing divisions, which actually means that we'll have more money to reinvest in the business, right? When we talk about FDI, which is again going to lead into the sustainable manufacturing, today, India only accounts for 4% of global FDI which is coming through, right? So that if this 4 is to become 8, which is just double, I think that 5 trillion number will look small, right? When you look at the balance sheet structures, today probably India is one of the few countries which has the best banking balance sheets and corporate balance sheets. We are trending at the 15-year low of debt equity, which again means more resources to invest to achieve that sustainable manufacturing element, because what happens in sustainable manufacturing is that sometimes you have to invest for future. You may not get the pricing benefit today. And the consumer may not be ready for that. Even the export markets may not be ready for that today. But I think that transition is happening, and we are going to see that shift as we move towards this 5 trillion benchmark.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agarwal, Vivek, and Pulkit for joining us on this panel discussion, giving your view on smart innovation, sustainability, and pathways for manufacturing for the future. Thank you very much.
There were also some quick and slick presentations from innovators of Industry 4.0 in our Startup Showcase. The two-day event culminated with the felicitation of entrepreneurs and business leaders at the helm of smart manufacturing in India.
The first category is smart manufacturing in technology. May I please request Team Honeywell to come up on stage to receive the honor. Our next category for the evening is the smart manufacturing in aerospace and defense. And here we are recognizing the achievements of 2 organizations for their outstanding work. On behalf of Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, may I please invite Mr. Sunil Bhati, GM and Resident Manager, HAL, to join us on stage. And the next organization that we are felicitating in this category is Bharat Electronics. I'd like to request Mr. Manoj Kumar, Executive Director, National Marketing, BEL, to please join us on stage. Next up, we would like to put the spotlight on stellar work that has been done in smart manufacturing by an automotive company. May I please request Mr. Jay Shankar Krupal, Senior Vice President, Manufacturing, CEAT, to come up on stage. Now moving ahead to the next category of smart manufacturing by a consumer durables company. And with a hearty round of applause, please join me in welcoming from Crompton Greaves, Mr. Praveen Saraf, Vice President, Manufacturing and Quality, Crompton Greaves. Finally, it's time to recognize the exceptional work in smart manufacturing in heavy engineering. I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Anil V. Parab, Whole-Time Director and Senior Executive VP, Larsen & Toubro. And for our next felicitation, I would like to invite Shireen to please say a few words.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in applauding the contribution of Mr. R.C. Bhargav for his lifetime contribution to Indian manufacturing. If we could all rise and thank Mr. Bhargav for his contribution to the cause of Indian manufacturing. Thank you so much, sir.
CNBC TV18 Zetwerk Smart Manufacturing Summit 2024.